Welcome to the final lecture in World Regional Geography. This is not so much a lecture as an opportunity for you to explore geographic data and to think a little bit about a current issue as it relates to the topics of the class. So, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to introduce a couple of maps and an animation that you're going to be using in the quick write. And I want you to think a little bit about perhaps why, and again, remember geography is about phenomena, where of those phenomena and location, and then why. So let's take a look at this. Here's what you're going to be writing about. First of all, this is an animation, and I'm going to begin the animation right now, and we'll talk about it as it goes. You'll notice that what this animation does is it shows countries of origin and the years and the dominant countries, or the large in terms of numbers, that come into the United States between 1820 and about 2017. When a country changes color or becomes colored, that color intensity indicates that migrants are coming from that area. So you notice we're up to 1870. We have Canadian migration, Western European migration. We begin to have Chinese migration. The other point I want to make is please notice those 1, 2, and 3. Those are the top countries for that region. And then you'll notice the total migrants during that period. So as we watch this move through time, one of the things that I want you to focus on is which countries begin to appear and how important those countries are. I also want you to focus a little bit on what the top 3 countries are, because they change through time. So again, this is a way of understanding migration to the United States in different contexts. You'll notice that during the World War II years, migration changes. You'll see this happening in the 80s, and you would have seen it happen back in the 1870s. Different things cause different impacts. You'll also notice that global migration becomes much more diverse. These are things that I want you to write about and think about. Okay, I'm going to skip forward and I want you to look at the next 2 maps. Alright, so now we have 2 maps that are very similar in series. They're produced by the Census Bureau. And what they do, and it's kind of important, and I think it's very interesting to examine how ethnicity or ancestry in our country occurs geographically. So now what this is it takes each county in the United States and looks at what the dominant ancestry is in that county. That is, what is the largest group within a given county. And you notice that it's fairly broad in terms of what the ethnicities are divided into, okay, or ancestry regions. So just as an example, I can point out my county. I grew up right about here, just outside of Chicago. And so what you'll notice is that the dominant ancestry in this area would be German. In contrast, if you go down into, for example, this area in Michigan, you'll see that this is actually a Dutch area. Or we can go way out here and we can see that there are some areas that are English dominated or Irish dominated. You'll notice that the Irish and English are here. Now again, this is the 2000 census. If we compare that to the 2010 census, and again they changed some of the enumerators a little bit, but the data is very, very similar. What we might want to ask is, are these maps the same? Are they a little bit different? And equally important, where do you fit into this? What I'm going to ask you to do is write a little bit about your ethnicity, where it occurs in the country, and in a sense, why. Why do you think it does? I do also ask a question about ethnicities or ancestries on the cultural landscape. And what I mean by that is different communities, different ancestries appear on the landscape in different ways. This might be in the naming of buildings or streets. It might be in certain social organizations. It might be even in restaurants. So when I ask that question, what I'm asking about the cultural landscape is how ancestries, immigrant heritages, if you will, appear in the culture of a region. Again, it might be something, areas that I grew up in around Chicago had bagpipe bands. Well, that certainly is an influence of their the cultures of Scotland, to a lesser degree Ireland, but kind of the islands of the British Isles being present in that area. So that's an example. All right, that's it for the final lecture of the semester. It was a pleasure having you in class. If you have any questions or comments, please don't hesitate to email me.